Welcome to the Motherhood Survival Manual Masterclass. This course is based on my book of the same name. You're probably here because you're expecting, have a baby, or are a supportive partner. In any case, good for you. Motherhood is often talked about in general terms, but our goal with this course is to get into the nitty-gritty, the real struggles of giving birth and taking care of babies. This conversation is so important, and I truly believe if we talk about the reality of motherhood, you will be prepared for anything that comes your way. You won't just survive, you'll thrive. You hear all these recommendations on how to be a great mom, how to take care of yourself, how to run the perfect household, how to excel professionally while being a mother. But the real struggle is how on earth can you do all this? So while I'm going to be giving suggestions of things to do, I'm also going to help you find ways to take things off your plate, when and how to set boundaries, resources available to you, and how to ask for help. I've spent the last 20 years thinking intensely about these issues. How can we better support moms? When I entered motherhood, I was so clueless, but I didn't realize what a struggle motherhood would be. I figured because I was a family doctor, I had the general medical knowledge and know-how to be a mother. I had worked plenty of 36-hour shifts in residency. I could handle motherhood, right? If only it were that simple. Back then, we didn't have TikTok videos of parents losing it or entire Instagram accounts dedicated to the simultaneously troubling and hilarious reality of bearing and raising children. You've probably seen the posts of moms who look like they haven't showered in a week, have been crying for the past 2 days, and all they can manage is rocking their baby. Back when I was pregnant, I had no way to know that was about to be me. I was just 8 months pregnant, and I'd moved 3,000 miles away from my family. My mother passed away when I was a teenager, so I didn't have a mom to learn from. I'm not sure my father ever changed a diaper, so that wasn't an option for the support I needed. And my husband was working crazy long hours at a new job, trying to fill the loss of several surgeons in the area. The night our daughter was born, 3 hours later, he was in the operating room performing a 12-hour surgery, so I didn't have his help either. So I had none of the typical support. I had to be creative from day one. I continued this perpetual search for motherhood life hacks for the next 20 years. When I entered medicine, I had no idea I would later become an expert in perinatal mental health. I wanted to work with families and take care of their health, so I went into family medicine. I wanted to be a resource for them as they grappled with life changes. I loved working with young families, pregnant women, and watching their kids grow up through their well-child visits. I was highly driven and goal-focused. Becoming a clinical professor at a premier family medicine residency training program was my career dream, and I achieved it just 2 years after finishing my training. I never thought I would change career paths. I, like society, had diminished the importance and complexities of motherhood. I'm not saying everyone needs to be a mother. I am saying that I didn't realize how challenging it is, how much learning and sacrifice, and how much hard work it takes to be a mother. And then I had my baby. In an instant, my life was completely different. My needs and priorities changed. I immediately no longer wanted to work long days away from home. I didn't want to be on call, knowing in the middle of the night I might have to leave my baby to go to the hospital. I was still nursing. I knew I wanted to be with my baby more. She became what was most important to me. But I also didn't want to let go of everything I had accomplished or my professional identity. I was experiencing an identity crisis. My goals, my values, my needs, my family's needs were all suddenly shifted, and I didn't know how to balance them. On one hand, I longed for my husband's opportunity to dedicate himself totally to his profession. But on the other, I was so thankful to be able to be with my children. For the next 10 years, I struggled finding the balance between family and career. I became fascinated by how women approached the transition to motherhood, and I wanted to understand how other women navigated this. Becoming a mother was really the biggest transition in my life, and yet I had received absolutely no training for it. I had taken 3 courses in calculus, but not a single class in parenting. This tells you something about our society's values. I'm not saying calculus isn't important, but clearly we as a society do not appear to value parenting skills in our educational system. This seems wrong to me, since for most people, parenting will be the single most important job of their lives. It has been for me. Whenever I encounter a problem, I try to learn everything I can about it. I began reading everything I could find about parenting and motherhood. I started taking graduate classes on childhood development. The more I learned, the more fascinated I became. I went on to earn my master's degree in counseling psychology and marriage and family therapy. I then did additional training in psychotherapy with mothers together with their new babies. In 2010, I opened my practice in women's mental health with a focus on helping women adjust to motherhood. Over the years, as a perinatal psychotherapist and physician, I've worked with many, many women going through this transition. Of course, it's different for every woman, but most of them had pretty busy lives before they became a mother, so each of them struggled with many of the same issues. Needless to say, I've learned a lot. Together, we brainstormed endlessly. How do we make motherhood easier? How do I raise a happy, healthy, successful child? How can I enjoy motherhood more? How do I thrive professionally without sacrificing my child or my family's well-being or my own? In the course of answering these questions, I found that my family medicine background was extremely helpful. I provided prenatal care, delivered babies, taken care of babies during their well-child visits, and those sick in the hospital. I knew which medications and supplements were safe to take and which were not. Over the past decade, women's awareness of postpartum depression has increased tremendously. Celebrities have openly and bravely shared their own experiences with postpartum depression, PPD. There's been a shift towards greater authenticity. People now share their struggles more honestly. Society is responding with greater empathy and understanding the struggles of motherhood. This awareness meant that more and more women came to me, wanting to do everything they can to avoid postpartum depression. Today, women are much more knowledgeable about the harm of PPD. We know it can affect not just your well-being, but your child's and your relationship with your partner. We've also learned through research there is so much that can be done to prevent women from experiencing PPD. This is why I created this course, to share this knowledge with you. I've learned there are certain predictable pitfalls that can trip up moms and make even highly successful women feel like failures. This course will serve as a manual for sidestepping known problematic areas so you can navigate your way through motherhood and feel good, maybe even great. I want you to enjoy motherhood, to enjoy your baby, to feel supported and fulfilled in your relationship, to navigate a balance between your professional life and the rest of your life, whether that means working full-time, part-time, or putting work on hold, either permanently or until you figure it out later. This is achievable. I'm not saying working with me will make every moment of motherhood blissful. There will be challenges, but I will help you rise up to meet them, to navigate around the problems you don't really need to deal with. We will figure out what to take off of your plate, how to find support to do so, and put a whole lot of wonderful stuff on it instead. I want to note that while I am a doctor, the goal of this course is only to provide guidance. It does not serve as a substitute for treatment by a licensed therapist or physician, but rather to complement proper medical care. Together, we can make motherhood the best thing that has ever happened to you.